We just worked on multiplication of fractions when we multiplied a fraction times a fraction. Now it's time to think about how do we support student learning when we're multiplying a fraction times a whole number. Look at this problem here. 2/3 times 4. That means I'm going to find 2/3 of 4. The first thing I want to do is identify and represent the second factor. Here the second factor is 4, or I could think about that as 4 over 1. That might help me think about it as a fraction. And what might that look like? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 wholes. So I have just shown 4. Now I'm going to identify the first factor. Here it's 2/3. And I want to find 2/3 of each of those wholes. So what might that look like? Well, there's 2/3 of the first whole. Here's 2/3 of the second, 2/3 of the third, and 2/3 of the fourth. So when I multiply 2/3 times 4, I end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 thirds. Remember, I'm always working in thirds. So my product is 8 thirds. Let's look at another problem here. What about 5/7 times 3? I'm going to identify and represent the second factor. This time, I'm going to use those two color counters. I'm going to represent 3. I've got 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to find 5/7 of 3. Now I could divide each of those counters, each of those wholes, into 7 equal parts and find 5 of them. But with the two color counters, I could also create sets now of 7. So I could say, well, the first factor is 5/7. So here's 5/7, here's 5/7, and here's 5/7. Because I'm still working with my wholes, even my whole first had a denominator of 1, now it has a denominator of 7. And so let's think about, well, in each of these groups of 7, so that's going to be my denominator, how many groups did I create? Well, I created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So my product is 15/7. So when I multiplied 5/7 times 3, my product is 15/7. Now I'd like you to push pause and think about this. How could you use the commutative property of multiplication to help students understand multiplication when we multiply a fraction times a whole number? We just worked on the problem 5/7 times 3, but would it be easier for students to think about 3 times 5/7? It's kind of up to you, but this would be a really good conversation starter about the commutative property. So how are you going to use it?